So we have a quick math question. This asks, what is the cube root of 64?
Oh, I can do that one pretty quickly unless you really want to.
No, go ahead.
All right, so cube root of 64. What I'm just going to talk about really briefly is what a cube root means. I might have talked about this earlier about square roots. Square roots mean basically what number squared equals the number underneath that root. So 5 squared equals 25, so the square root of 25 is 5. So essentially with cube roots, what we're asking ourselves is what number cubed is equal to 64? Or, in other words, what number times itself 3 times equals 64? I get the question sometimes of, is there maybe a procedural way to figure this out? Can we do long division, anything like that? Honestly, I don't know, unless you know of one, Nate. I don't think so. I think it's just good to know them.
The best way I can think of is to factor it out. You could use prime
like actually
factorization.
take down 64 and factor it?
Yeah, so if you make like a factor tree, so like 64, you could say I have
4
2 as a
times
factor,
Okay.
32. And again, the reason why I'm doing it this way is because a lot of students who struggle with this idea
Don't
need like
know.
a step-by-step.
Yeah, exactly.
And this would be a way to actually simplify this cube root if you wanted to. So I would do 2 and 16, 2 and 8, 2 and 4, and then 2 and 2. And you can take all of these and say that it is the cube root of, and we have, count them here.
6 of them.
Got 6 of them. So 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. And then same thing that you would do with the square root is you would pull out groups of 3. So I've got one group of 3, and you could say the cube root of 2 times 2 times 2 is going to be 2. And then you can pull out this other group of 3, and you could say 2 times 2 times 2, or you could break that down and say, okay, I know the cube root of 8 is 2, and then times 2 again. And then you're left with nothing on the inside, so you would get 4.
Gotcha. So that process, I guess, of simplifying
Right.
square roots in general you can use for simplifying cube roots.
Right.
Well, and for me, honestly, I think it's helpful to know some of the basic cube roots.
Definitely.
Just like with the perfect squares, it's helpful to know them and kind of have them memorized. But as Nate said, it would be 4, and that makes sense. Let's check our answers since Nate loves to do that.
I do.
4 times 4 times 4, does it equal 64? Yes, because 4 times 4 is 16, and then 16 times 4 is 64. So cube root of 64 is 4.
Yeah, and like you mentioned, just knowing some of these, I think oftentimes if you don't want to take the time to memorize them, everything becomes a lot more difficult. And if you just take a few minutes here and there
Yeah.
and memorize them, like a lot of these problems become
It's kind of like
much
your times
easier.
tables.
Right.
You don't have to memorize them, but it's going to make your math life just a lot more fluid
Exactly.
and just go a lot quicker. You'll see connections between things that you wouldn't normally, things like that. So it is helpful to memorize them. Memorize your cubes.
Subscribe!
Come on, push the button.
Yeah, you want to.
Do it.